Have you ever paused in the quiet of your day and wondered if there are little things you're doing, subtly, almost invisibly, that might be nudging people away, even though they'd never dream of pointing it out? As the years stack up like well-worn books on a shelf, we all ease into habits that feel like old friends. Some wrap around us like a cozy blanket, full of comfort and quiet wisdom. But others? They sneak in as blind spots, shadows we don't even see. You could swear you're just being your authentic self, unfiltered and true. Yet here's the gentle truth: those closest to you, family, friends, even the casual stranger passing by, they pick up on it all. They might hold their tongues out of kindness or fear of bruising feelings, but those habits whisper away at the connections that matter most. In this video, we're peeling back the layers on 12 tough, unspoken behaviors you might be slipping into as you age, things everyone around you spots, but no one has the heart to name. And when I say ugly, I don't mean the surface stuff, the wrinkles or silver hair. No, these are the deeper ones, the quiet erosions of your hard-won dignity, the slow drifts into isolation, the tiny cracks in the grace and respect you've built over a lifetime of storms and sunrises. Each one here is an invitation to pause, to breathe, to lift that mirror not with a critic's glare, but with a friend's soft nudge. Hey, is this habit still lifting you up, or is it gently easing folks out the door? And the beautiful part? Nearly all of them can bloom into something better with a spark of awareness. That's the magic of the first step, just seeing it clearly. Stick with me to the very end, because you might uncover that a handful of tender tweaks could ripple out, reshaping not just how the world sees you, but how you rediscover the spark in your own reflection. Ready? Let's dive in with heart. Number 1, letting personal hygiene fade into the background. It's one of those whispers people catch in the air but swallow back, never voicing, that moment when self-care starts to slip, not in some dramatic crash, but in the soft, everyday lapses. Picture it, slipping on an outfit that's seen better days, maybe 3 wears too many, with strands of hair rebelling against the brush, nails edging just past tidy, or that subtle scent that hangs like a quiet question after you've stepped away. These aren't earthquakes, they're breezes. But oh, they carry stories. Hygiene isn't merely soap and water, it's the silent poetry of how you present your spirit to the world. Back in our vibrant youth, these rituals danced on autopilot, effortless as breath. But as seasons turn and energy ebbs like a retreating tide, routines reshape, and that inner whisper creeps in: does it even matter anymore? The change is feather light, but those who love you, they feel it like a shift in the wind. They won't blurt it out, no one wants to dim your light with awkward words. Younger kin, especially, fumble for the right path, terrified of clipping your wings. So they adapt in silence, claiming seats a breath farther off, trimming visits like hedges, hesitating on those warm embraces. But it's not you they're dodging, it's the echo of your care, or the hint of its absence. It murmurs that perhaps the fire within has dimmed, that self-worth has softened at the edges. And the unspoken ache. When we let go of tending ourselves, others mirror it back, their warmth cooling like dawn mist, respect threading a little looser. This isn't a call to strut like runway royalty or drown in scents, far from it. But imagine the quiet power of a crisp shirt hugging your frame just right, hair falling with a touch of intention, nails neat as a promise. They broadcast, I'm still dancing in this life. I cherish the gift of me, and by extension, you. People tune into your vibe long before your stories land. Hygiene. It's the purest echo of that inner glow. Nurture it, and you weave an invisible welcome, kindness drawn near, closeness kindled, dignity held high. That's the song worth humming every day. Number 2, letting words tumble out unfiltered. As the calendar pages flip, a fascinating shift stirs inside, like that cautious inner editor, the one who once murmured, "Hold that thought," starts to hush, fading to a distant echo until it's gone entirely. Suddenly, your thoughts flow freer, bolder, laced with the thrill of, I've walked this earth long enough, I claim my say. It feels like unchained wings, doesn't it? Pure liberation. But to those orbiting your world, it often lands as a ripple of unease, a subtle chill in the air. There's this delicate dance between raw truth and the sharp edge of unvarnished bluntness, and time can blur the steps. If you catch eyes flickering away, chairs creaking with unspoken pauses, or glances darting to safer shores, it might be a signal. What's spilling forth isn't just honesty, it's edged with unintended bite. Ever snagged yourself tossing out a quip on a loved one's curves, their glow, their tangled heartstrings, or the wild art of parenting today? Followed by that easy laugh, the shrug of, "Hey, truth's my jam," or, "We were tougher shells back then, no fragile egos." But lean in closer to the heart of it, truth stripped bare, without the velvet of empathy, rings like a critique in disguise. And those on the receiving end? They rarely fire back. They retreat into their shells, invitations to gatherings thinning like autumn leaves, calls wrapping up with hurried goodbyes. Their love runs deep as ever, but they're shielding tender spots from the pricks of offhand arrows. You don't need to muzzle every syllable or tiptoe through talk. But oh, what grace in that beat before the breath. Does this kindle light? Does it cradle with care? Sometimes, what masquerades as your unbridled truth is just frustration seeking air, and it touches down heavier than a feather. Here's a compass worth pocketing. If it wouldn't sit right tumbling from lips aimed at your own grandbaby, perhaps let it rest unspoken. The gift of your years. That deep well of insight. Package it in kindness, and souls lean closer, ears attuned, reverence blooming like wildflowers. But laced with sarcasm's thorn or judgment's shadow, they fade to the edges, volumes low. Even with the purest heart, your voice holds thunder now, amplified by time. Wield it to weave threads of nearness, not to unravel the fragile weave. If these words are stirring something in you, drop a number 2 in the comments. I'm right here with you. And if the channel's not in your corner yet, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Let's not miss the next heartbeat of wisdom. Your cheers fuel the fire for more stories that spark and soothe. Number 3, clinging to clothes that no longer hug your story. There's a sweet solace in the rhythms of days grown familiar, the same golden toast at dawn, the familiar crunch of gravel underfoot, the faithful wardrobe that's journeyed years by your side. Loyalty like that? It's a quiet virtue. Yet when it comes to what drapes your frame, that timeless charm can, with the years, whisper of neglect rather than nostalgia. You might miss it in your own mirror, but the fit, or the lack, paints a vivid portrait of your tether to now. Trousers sagging like forgotten sails, tops that pull too insistent, echoes of styles from 2 decades back, or soles flattened to memory. These aren't mere threads, they're dispatches from your soul, hinting you've tuned out the symphony of today. No one broadcasts it, no bold critiques ring out, but eyes linger, hearts note. This isn't chasing fads or channeling youth's fire, it's a love letter to yourself, declaring your worth the gaze. Spot an elder wrapped in garb that flatters the now, cared for, intentional, echoing quiet pride, and admiration sparks like flint on steel. It sings, "This soul strides into the light not for applause, but from a well of worth." Ponder this, would that suit from a quarter-century past grace a fresh crossroads interview? Unlikely. The same truth graces the ordinary grind. Bodies reshape like rivers carving stone, hues warm with time's patina, vitality humming a new melody. Garb that honors the you of this breath, not the echo of yesteryear, radiates presence, a soul awake and attuned. I've caught the murmur, who cares for stairs? Ease is my throne. Valid, utterly. But ease and indifference? Distant kin. You can lounge in luxury and still shine assembled, unwind with whimsy yet honor your silhouette. A simple swap to jeans that whisper just right, a blouse that dances with your dawn light, it reshapes responses, not from cloth's spell, but from the banner it waves, engagement alive, awareness alert, pride pulsing in the pulse of today. No fanfare follows, no odes to your hemline, but they sense it. Smiles stretch a fraction wider, regard deepens with a hush of awe. Because, love it or leave it, attire is the world's opening glance. And even in the golden autumn of years, that glance sows seeds that bloom. Number 4, stealing the spotlight in every chat. Deep down, we all crave that echo, our voices bouncing back, heard and held, especially when the tapestry of our lives brims with threads worth sharing. You've navigated tempests, gathered gems of knowing. But in that noble hunger to pour out wisdom or etch your angle clear, it's easy to eclipse the circle, forgetting the space for others' light. It creeps in soft, a tale unfurls on familiar ground, you leap with your chapter, spin a yarn, map their path ahead. Blink, and minutes cascade, 10, perhaps, while silence claims the rest. The sly part? It blooms from pure soil, a root in the wish to guide. Yet here's the tender snag, crowding the airwaves mutes the very hearts you hold dear, without a whisper of warning. They drift like leaves on current, calls rare as shooting stars, talks clipped to essentials. The gap yawns, but its source? A mystery veiled. Souls yearn to be witnessed, not schooled, to shine, not shadow. When dialogue tilts to monologues lame, bonds fray like well-loved linen, gentlest with the young, the wide-eyed next-gen fumbling bridges across eras. Less words. Not the cure. More ears, open wide, cradling silences like treasures, queries outpacing answers, curbing the itch to advise unbidden. Imagine the quiet might of restraint, an elder's pause, carving room for voices to soar full and free. Not from scarcity of sage, but from honor, your light matters, and so does the dawn in theirs. The twist that delights? Yield the stage, and spotlights seek you. Lend your ear, and trust flows like a steady stream. You transform from the voice to brace against, to the haven they seek. Next gathering, next whisper shared moment, tune in. Is your heart truly receiving, or merely rehearsing its solo? That whisper of change? It rewrites the script. For when ears cradle souls, walls tumble, nearness blooms, and anticipation warms the air where dread once lingered. Number 5, sighing over, kids these days, like a weary refrain. It sparks from a flicker, a teen lost in screen glow, and your mind wanders to eras of face-to-face firesides, we wove words without wires. Or a 30-something's bold leap jars you, stirring, they've yet to taste the grit of true tides. And poof, those musings escape into the ether of talks with kin, comrades, even fleeting strangers. You might not clock it, but that steady stream of shade on the young casts a shadow long and sharp. It signals to your circle, children, grandhearts especially, that curiosity's door hangs ajar, that you're moored in yesterworld's harbor, adrift from their seas. The raw edge. Every wave of youth eyes the next with a squint, convinced they've lost the plot. Timeless as the stars. But when critique crowns your chorus, wisdom, it wilts. Bitterness takes the bough, tart as unripe fruit. You frame it as jest, obvious as sunrise, but to ears under half-century's mark, it stings like dismissal, a wave crashing over their horizons, their truths, their hard-won ways. The fallout? Gates to the heart creak shut. Chats skim surfaces, depths dodged for fear of frosty gales. Love endures, fierce as ever, but slices of self stay tucked safe, at arm's reach. No need to nod at every whim, crown every fad. But pivot to wonder over wrath, probe, don't presume. Trade, youth's got it soft as silk, for, paint me the puzzle of your path amid these whirlwinds. And bridges arch, not barriers. Your worth. Not in pitting eras against each other, but in spanning them, a lighthouse hand, steady across swells, not a gale howling from shores long left. Truth whispers, when the young sense your soil rich for their seeds, they root deeper. Queries fly, visits voluntary, drawn by desire's pull. You rise not mere elder, but beacon, cherished, confided in, sought for ears that drink before dispensing. That's the alchemy of sway. It ignites by releasing the grip on how it was, embracing the you that still shimmers now. If these ripples are touching you, echo, number 5, below, let's share the wave. Unsubscribed? Step in, bell on, fuel the flow of light we craft to kindle your spirit. Onward we sail. Number 6, tuning out the rhythm of today's courtesies. There's this invisible hum of togetherness, the social pulse that thrums below the surface, until it stutters, and suddenly, eyes sharpen. Think booming phone symphonies in shared sanctuaries, crowding queues like uninvited guests, or unleashing video symphonies sans silent shields in hushed halls. Flecks of friction, yes, but they etch impressions deep as riverbeds. Decades back, such notes blended into the chorus, tolerance a generous tide for boisterous bursts or quirky drifts. But horizons shift, graces evolve, what once waved harmless now stirs a hush of unease, like a stone skipped across still waters. The clever catch? It slips past your own ear. No gentle hand on shoulder with "softer, please," or a step space. Instead, a fleeting frown, gaze averted, perch relocated. Not aimed at heart, but felt in bones. From rail rumbles to brew havens, or market meanders, these soft infractions of now's gentle code murmur, my ripples go unseen. And the quiet rub? Elders often draw less slack, assumptions lean to, they charted these waters before, so lapses land not as lost maps, but willful waves. Not the echo you crave. Yet here's the dawn, simplicity's salve. Mirror the moves in crowded commons, volume's velvet touch, bubbles of breath in lines, text tame whisper amid the throng. Today's graces? No stiff collars, but heart's soft bow. They proclaim you're woven in, attuned, alive to the dance of souls entwined. That pulse? It forges esteem, a bridge of age graces me, but I grace the now, attentive, agile, alive to your ease. Strangers soften, circles widen, kin's gaze warms. Little ones watch, whispers spread, and that subtle shine. It gleams brighter in haste's haze, a figure gliding with poise as poetry, dignity's delicate thread, etching awe in every step. Number 7, unloading health's heavy ledger too freely. We chuckle at the trope, gather elders round, and tales twist to a tournament of twinges, knees that protest like old hinges, pressures climbing like vines, pill parades marching counters. Light as lunch chatter, a bridge of "me too," but let it loop eternal, and it drains the air from the room like a slow sigh. Aging's toll. No secret scroll, aches arrive unbidden, no feigning flawlessness required. Yet when every exchange orbits the ouch, the verdict, the scalpel's shadow, listeners feel less like companions, more like clinic chairs. For the fresh-faced kin, it's a tidal overwhelm, words tangle on replies, helplessness hums like a held breath over fixes beyond reach. So they ease back, not scorn, but a hush of weariness, hearts heavy yet hushed. You merit the lean in, the ears embrace. But throne it as talk's core, and tides turn, from shared spark to stewardship's weight, dialogue to dirge. Muse on your favorites, the souls that light your hours. Rarely the chroniclers of creaks and cures, more the beacons on bright spots, nodding to knots but letting joy knot the narrative. Conceal the storm? Heavens, no. But curate the chorus, who, when, and oh, the equilibrium. Unveil your voyage? Absolutely. But inquire theirs, the tome turning pages in quiet nights, the bloom bursting next door, the wing beat at dawn's window. Your saga brims beyond bulletins, rich with rhythms untold. And souls? They thirst for you, not just the scans. Surprise awaits in the lift, dialogues unburdened, health not the helm. Anchor in the able, the joys that jog, the gleams that grin, and not only do shadows lift from you, but you kindle them in others, a ripple of release. In Waite's wide world, the one who elevates the ether, even a whisper. That's elixir, pure and profound. Number 8, clutching creeds grown brittle as autumn leaves. Among the slyest self-shadows, deepened by time's deepening, is watching convictions calcify, from open vistas to veiled fortresses. We cradle convictions that cradled us, tenets that tamed tribes, steered ventures, scripted sense from chaos. But unchecked, they crust to creeds unyielding, blind to the world's wild whirl. Phrases slip like old slippers, worlds wired that way, feels fray too fine now, science. my map's true north. Confidence cloaks you, but ears catch the undercurrent, a wall, not a welcome. Real talk, the globe spins ceaseless, circuit sparking, customs curving, roles reshaping, minds mending in new lights, words weaving wilder webs. Root rigid, scorning the sway. It veils not as elders' lore, but elders' lock. The rising tide tunes in, seldom storming the shore direct, but inwardly, they tag you, untouchable on tides, unyielding to their undertow, unwilling to wade. A quiet theft of threads that could tie. From Grandkin's quest for quirky quests to neighbor's nuanced nest, wonders wait when wonder woos over verdict's veil. Openness. No core quake. It's refresh without rupture, space at the feast for fresh flames, even if some flicker faint. And peek deeper, rigidity often robes in riddle, dread of drift, of dimming, of dissolving in the delta of letting go. But your shine. Not in ironclad yesterdays, but bold brushes with breath of now. Utter, that lens lights new paths, or, unspool that for my soul, and portals part, souls step through, safety's song. The poetry. Mind's morph, the young's yarn unravels right in ways wild to your weave. That bend, that bloom of, perhaps, it's the humility that harvests hearts. Not for omniscience, but for lifelong learner's light, aglow in autumn's arc rare as a comet's kiss, potent as dawn. If this stirs your depths, murmur, number 8, below, we're in the weave together. Channel adrift? Anchor here, bell bright, your spark sustains the stories that soothe and stir. Forward, with fire. Number 9, gliding through spaces unaware of the shared stage. Time tempers our tempo, we ease into a gentler gait, steadier sways or watchful waltzes on footing less fleet, and that's the poetry of passage, pure and right. Yet unseen, a subtlety slips, attunement to our orbits others fades, movements murmuring solo in a duet world. You've witnessed it, haven't you? A figure frozen mid-aisle, wagon askew like a barrier breached, pouring over print oblivious, a halt abrupt in haste's hallway, mind meandered, or a stroll side by side veering into traffic's tide, unwitting. No malice in the misstep, intense innocent, eyes on your own horizon. But to the hurried heart or huddled in nooks, it's a graze of grit, a pebble in the path, day dimmed a degree. Crucial whisper, voices stay veiled. A breath's release, a sidestep smooth, a glance grazed, life resumes. But layers lace over time, tinting your tapestry, the always in aisles aura, or the sideline choice to solo spaces, shop solo, traverse tandemless. Not disdain, but the drag of directing your drift. Crystal clarity, leisure's lag. No culprit. The call is consciousness. Linger languid yet leave lanes, halt yet hug the hedge, amble alert to the ambient flow. Vital in vortexes, terminals teeming, paths pulsing, bazaars buzzing, sanctuary corridors sacred. Commons crave courtesy's caress, your care cries, I'm woven wide awake, woven with your worlds. Indeed, this vigilance. Grace's quiet verse, proclaiming presence beyond self, poised, pondering, pulsing kind. Perfection. No pursuit. Just a nod, a notice, a nudge of neighborly. Deliver it, and you dazzle, not as dawdler, but as diplomat of dignity, threading responsibility's soft seam through the throng. Such poise. A force fiercer than you fathom. Number 10, cracking quips that curdle with the calendar. Wit woven well. A lantern into later lights, easing edges, enfolding ease, melting knots in night's toughest tangles. Timeless treasure. Yet humor's harvest isn't always harvest home, some seeds sown in youth's soil sour in age's autumn. Those knee-slappers from yesterdecades. They might now nudge souls adrift, a chill where chuckles once camped. Your jests jog the old jog, sarcasm's sly wink, teases tender thorn, nods to bygone biases or barbs at roots, looks, leaps. Capped with your own glee, chased by, just joshin' or ease up, eh. But the stage has shifted, your circle's script, too. Where once what winged on otherings breeze, now ears ache for anchors of allyship, hearts for harmony's hush, diverse dawns for dawn's dew. A gag grazing those graces? Less laugh, more lapse, adrift, or audacious affront. And the hush? They mask with mirth's mask, then melt to margins. The chill creeps, source shrouded. No need for nerves tightrope, jests jailed. But a breath's bid before the bounce, clever's crown, or other's cost. Prime punch in later lights. The uplift, the levity that lands light, the with, not at, proving you're not moored in memory's mist, but mirroring the mending world. Swiftest bridge. Belly laughs at your own breadcrumbs, humility's halo, vista's vastness, no proofs proffered, just joy's shared juggle. Souls soften, step in, see you not as era's echo, but era's embracer. Warmwood wins worlds, but the thoughtful twist, self-sung and softly sink to sun's new slant. It flings connections casement cavernous, come what age. Number 11, feigning frailty where fortitude still flows. Years yields, none contest the climb, feats once fluid now fancy footwork, tender tending, timely teams. But the gulf gleams between genuine grasp and go-to gimme, and time's telescope tunes it sharp, sharper than admissions allow. Habit hums, handle it, heart, or, text tangle, I'll topple it. Start sweet as summer rain. But habitual, for feet still in your flourish. It frays the fellowship's fabric, soft as spider silk. Kin feel the shift to steward sand summons, comrades clock the constant carry, lifts, lunges, links, ledgers always theirs. Smiles mask the murmur, sure, seamless. But beneath? A brew of begrudge, bittersweet. Deeper dance, often, it's shadow play, not sloth, dreads disguised, bungles blush, fools flicker, lags lament. So you yield the yoke. Each concession carves capability a notch nearer null. But here's the hearthglow truth, striving sings sweeter than seamless. They'd cheer your chase, your tussle triumphant, over totals tame. Offspring, offshoots, orbiting others, they swell with your spark in the fray, your fire for fresh fields, your fancy for the foray, aid-asked authentic, not autopilot. Trust thickens, no taint of tug or take. Honor hums in the honest hail, not habit's hook. Agency's art. No youth's yarn respun. It's arriving as is, claiming your craft clear, craving aid candid, honoring the horizon, twixt. Astonishment awaits in reclaim, tote your own trove, tame the clicker's code, chase the chart's charm sand's shadow. These triumphs. Confidence as cascade, chorus to all, time tweaks the toolkit, but tempers not the tenacious tide, the unquenched urge, the unbowed beam. For the gracefully grade. Not the never-needers, but the knowers, of kneel and of kneel not, this, I claim. Number 12, parading perfection in every pronouncement. We nestle into our niche, earned in embers, lifetimes laced with lore, labyrinths, learnings etched in every etch. So it's soul deep sensible, at length's bend, many matriarchs and patriarchs perch with, I've harvested the house, the wise are writ. Often, oasis of insight. But the bend bitters when right eclipses relate, and ears edge away. It twinkles and trifles, tweaking tales at twilight tables, staking your script as sole scripture, sighs at saplings of thought, swats at views with, believe, I've bridged this bay. First flutters. Forgiven with grins. But endurance? Exhaustion's embrace. Depths dodged, dreams damned, dares dimmed, not swayed, but silenced for solace's sigh. The wry whirl, seldom stems from swell-headedness. Its shelter's song, anchor in flux's flood, thrown in tomorrow's tide. But right reigning over radiant or roving. It rebounds. Sage's seal. Not omniscience's oath, but discernment's dance, dispensing when dawn breaks, deferring when another's aurora awaits. Opinions owned, open-veined. For the hush most hold, idols aren't imposers. They're inceptors, lending ear, lens, lure to luminous lanes sands shove. Cease the conquest of converse, and conclaves convene closer. Counsel craved, counsel crowned, not by clamor's crown, but calm's cadence. Your timbre. When timed not for triumph, it tunnels true, roots, resonates, reckons real. Fades the fray for flawless, endures the echo of ease. And when you cradle space for souls to sing, spar, soar, your silhouette. Cherished chapter, not chapter's chore. Final thoughts. We've wandered these 12 whispers together, now, in the hush after, cradle a breath, a gaze inward soft as morning mist. Which of these soft settlers have woven into your weave? Which startled like a sudden sun? Which beckon your hand for a gentle turn, even a whisper's width? This wasn't woven to wound or wag fingers. It was birthed from a bold gift, candor cloaked in caress, the rare real talk rarely rendered. For at core, these aren't stains on your shine, they're simply veils, visitors of time's quiet creep, unseen till spotlight stirs. And in that stir, strength's true sunrise, not denial's dim, but dawn's decree, I witness. I weave anew. My wings yet widen. That's the essence of elders' elegance, not past's prison, nor change's chide, but each emergence etched with awake's art, poise's poem, the subtle steel of souls still seeking, shifting, shining as hearth to the huddled. So as you stride on, tuck these tokens not as tallies, but tendrils, soft summons to stride with stature, spark, the stature that sows in souls a sense of seen, soothed, summoned higher. And etch this, no epoch too etched for evolution. Whispers in wit, in welcome, in rap and whimsy and weave, they rewrite realms, your ripple in others' rivers, your own rivers revel. Grateful you graced this gathering. Your voice. Our vital verse, spill below, one shimmer sees today, and the step you'll stitch it into your story. Your sparks. Our sun. If this nourished, nod like, link life, share the light. Your lift. Our loom for lore that lingers, lifts, loves. Till next, with warmth's wide wing.